Blessings and welcome to this new day. My name is Elizabeth and this is Withinspiration. And I am on day 7 of a 10-day video challenge. And I want to thank you from the depth of my heart for your gift of presence with me and for walking with me. This is a very unique journey that I hadn't expected to be on, especially being on camera each day. But it's really been stirring for me, and it's been a growth for me in so many ways. And what I'm realizing is things are percolating within me. It's almost like a life review because I'm going back into my archives and remembering some experiences and gifts that have truly been remarkable in my life. They've really carved a path in my life in such a unique way. And so in sharing that, I woke up this morning saying, I really want to share a little bit about my harp, Ophelia, and she's right here. And this is the beautiful rosewood harp that I found in the Global Music Store in Spokane that I shared about in my last video. There was something about her when I stepped up to her and began to play that it was almost like a homecoming being with a harp. And so in my journey of exploration, it was a deepening and learning more about the harp, not only the harp, but how music holds such power to heal, transform. And so I wasn't sure that I was going to really mention this journey, but in 2000, I was invited to go to Scotland with a group called Possibilities. And the work we did together was DNA repatterning, which was very powerful work. I journeyed with Margaret Ruby. She's here in Sandpoint. And we had an incredible time. The classes were always full. And there was a time in the class that we were done with our work and we were going to go on a sacred journey to many of the sacred sites in Scotland. So this one day there was a bus trip to the Rosalyn Chapel. And there was a beautiful man that was standing in front of me, and I really had a deep respect for him. He shared many stories about working with Sai Baba. And he mentioned on the bus, he said, when we got to the Rosalyn Chapel, he goes, aren't you going to take your harp into the chapel? And I said, what? Like, the thought did not even occur to me that I would even be so bold as to bring my harp into the Rosalyn Chapel. And I didn't know much about it, but there was something, a deep spiritual stirring within me about this place. So we went into the chapel and I laid out my blanket on the ground and I started to play. And I usually play with my eyes closed, and this one time I was playing and I heard from above me this beautiful Scotland brogue. Would you like to play your harp in the crypt? I just said yes immediately. I didn't even understand what the crypt was in that moment, but I knew that it was for me. So I had this gift of going into the crypt with my harp, and I went down the staircase of rock and was there by myself, and I looked, and this luminous window, this stained glass window, was at the center of this area. It was in the beauty of Christ. And I was just so moved by this place. So I knelt down my blanket and I just plucked a note. And I was so amazed that she was in tune. I thought, this is definitely a miracle that this is happening. And I began to play. And And as I played, I just felt this light, this experience, this joy, this jubilation within me. And it felt so strong that I began to sing. And I began to sing Alleluia. And those of you that know me, I'm not just a singer all the time, but I sang from my heart. And as I was singing, I just felt so much energy. I just felt the room filling up with angelic beings and guides, and it was a full room. And I heard this so loudly when I stopped and I just listened within. They said, "This vibration is opening the heart of Rosalyn." I had no idea what that meant, but I just knew that there was something very special about it. I came back upstairs and I opened the door and I was greeted by Margaret, and she had tears in her eyes and she was crying, and she said, "You would not believe what happened here." And I said, "I know." You wouldn't believe what my experience was. And so we all began to share. And what happened for the group up in the chapel was, as I was in the crypt and I was playing, they were listening to the music of the spheres. The angelic choir was singing. And it was quite profound because everyone was hearing it. In fact, they even asked the woman who was at the pulpit, "I didn't know that you had a choir here." And she says, "We don't." And so it was that time. I mean, I just feel that in my heart. I mean, I get goosebumps, but my heart is just so full when I feel that experience. And I knew within my being that this was a divine appointment. While I was in that hesitancy to offer myself and my heart to come in, thinking that, oh my gosh, that was an egoic act, I realized it was a God act. It was something from my soul. It was guiding me to that place, to that very moment that I could be in the well springs of the crypt of the Rosalyn Chapel, to be able to bring forth that vibration, that perfect vibration, to unlock the key codes in that place, on that moment in time, which was so divine. And I will never, ever forget that experience. So when I traveled home, it made me think about this experience that I had. After I returned from the Rosalyn, I really was guided to create create a CD, create an experience that really helped me to encapsulate what I felt on the land, what I felt in the crypt, what I felt with the people, and almost like a homecoming coming back to Scotland. And I was in this beautiful home that was hand-built by my friend Ken Kassler, who is not on the world right now with us, but his beautiful heart and beautiful place, he invited me to record in his home. And we did, and we birthed my CD called Heaven's Breath. Because that's what it felt to me. It was like the breath of heaven within me, and the experience that I had was so deeply profound. And oh my goodness, that was just the beginning of so many other music that I got to bring forth. And through the support of my beautiful friends like Ken and my beautiful brother Mark, he helped me to learn how to navigate all the technology to be able to bring forth that synchronistic vibration that was within my heart. And as I play, as I shared with you yesterday, it is a prayer. And it is a beautiful gift that this harp could come to me in such a time to help me remember the truth of who I am, and to tap into the divine gifts that have been just waiting for me to embrace. So I want to thank you from my heart to yours for this gift of listening. And I suppose I want to mention to you, it is on my link of Withinspiration if you're ever called to listen in to my music. My website holds a plethora of music and many of my CDs. I do want to dig deep and find Heaven's Breast because it is such an old recording and it was just not so easy to transfer to my website. But I will find some things and I will share it with you. But meanwhile, have a listen on my listening page if it calls to you. I also have another YouTube channel called Heart Sounds by Elizabeth. And I combine the magic and the beauty of nature with the music. So thank you all for your gift of being and your gift of listening. May your day be blessed.